Hey, welcome back to the channel on this beautiful spring day. I am really glad you're here because today I'm going to run the Baumolite 1P14 stump grinder. I made a video a few weeks ago and there were several comments on that video. People wanted to see more of this stump grinder. What's great about this stump grinder is I'm going to call it a mini stump grinder. It only has an 18-inch flywheel. It's made specifically for subcompact and compact tractors. So this B2601, which has 20 horsepower at the PTO, is great. It's rated for tractors as low as 15 horsepower at the PTO. So your BX series and similar subcompact tractors are a great fit for this piece of equipment. I've got a few stumps here from trees that I cut down last year. I'm going to cut down a fresh tree, at least one fresh tree. And these are stumps that are 5 or 6 inches in diameter, which is really perfect for this stump grinder, and that's really what it's made for. Now, some of the comments that I received were that folks wanted to see the entire tractor operating, not just close-ups of the stump grinder. They wanted to see how the tractor handles it. They wanted to see if the tractor is bouncing when it goes over the stump, which it does not. However, it can chatter like any stump grinder if you take too big of a bite, if you go too fast. The trick with this, and with most stump grinders, is you want to take it from the left side of the stump and take small bites. If you try to take it from the other side of the stump or take too big of a bite, the stump grinder is going to want to jump over that stump because it's spinning in that direction, so it's going to want to pull itself over. So you have to think about which side you approach it from and work carefully from there. Otherwise, it works great, and I hope to show you exactly what you're looking for, so stick around. The first thing I want to do is clean up these stumps. These are about 14 inches tall because I cut the trees off and I left the stumps up high. So you want to have the stump cut as close to the ground as you can. So I'll just cut those off. Got another one over here, and then we'll cut down a tree and do that as well. Let's start with that. One problem I have here, looks like these trees grew through a tarp. I don't want that getting all tangled up in the flywheel of the stump grinder. Okay, so here's my approach. You can see the stump is, even though it was cut down a year ago, it's not rotten in any way. It's still very solid. Got the stump grinder positioned, backed up to the stump. I'm going to hit it from this side so that it's not pulling the stump grinder against the wood. It's going to chip away at this end, and I'm going to work my way across. Now this is pretty small. Again, this is about 5 inches or so. So I could take that in just a few passes. Then I've got the other stump right back here, so I'm going to continue back, hit that one as well. There's a small gum tree growing right here, but I can just hit that with the stump grinder and that'll just cut the tree down itself. So we'll do that, and I'll get some close-ups and some wide shots. I put the tractor in low gear when I'm doing this, so I have a lot more control. So I plunged this stump grinder down a couple inches below the surface. That way that stump is completely gone. When I rake it over, it'll just be nice dirt on top. Won't hit it with the mower or anything like that. Now, you might have noticed, and if not, notice in the future, that this stump grinder is on a pivot. So when I set it down, it's relatively lightweight. See how it pivots like that? So the weight of the stump grinder kind of rides across the stump, and that's what goes in. There's no downward pressure on a 3-point hitch. So what's nice about that is it can kind of ride on the ground and find its own depth as it needs to. So that takes care of that one. We'll do the next one, which is right back here. And then we'll cut a tree down and do a fresh one. Kermit decided to eat some green leaves before I grind that little gum tree. Enjoy, buddy, enjoy. It's a 30-acre forest behind you. You have to be right here. You really have to be right here. Looks like the tarp was the least of my concerns. Look at that. A drawbar hitch. I hit it a few times. Hope my teeth are okay. You just never know what you'll find buried in an old farm. But these are the teeth. They're carbide tipped teeth, and they actually look just fine. They're in really great shape, so they can take quite a beating apparently, even hitting an old metal drawbar hitch. Yep, they're okay. All right, let's cut this fresh tree down. Now, for the sake of science and demonstration, we will precisely measure the stump. 5.5 inches. 5 inches. Hey Siri, how many centimeters is 5 inches?
12.7 centimeters.
There you go for the rest of the world, 12 centimeters. Now keep in mind, this is 5.5 inches here, but as you go deeper into the ground, that stump gets wider and wider. So it's probably 6, 7, maybe 8 inches when you get down a couple inches under the ground. All right, that's all the science and mathing that I can do today. Let's grind the stump. Now you may have noticed, and if you did, you're very perceptive, or you watched my last video about the stump grinder, I'm only cutting in the forward direction. That's because the teeth are on the front side of the flywheel. There are no teeth on the back side. So it's not made for backing into stumps. It's made to go over the stump, drop it, and then drive forward. So you're only cutting the stump in the forward direction. Now you can either lift up the stump grinder, back over, drop it back down again. But I've also found that as you go across, if you don't change right or left, you can tend to back straight over again, drop it down a little more, pull forward, back up, drop it down. So that seems to work just fine, because when you lift it up and you go back, now you have to find that spot where you were, which can be a little bit difficult. So back and forth, but only cutting in the forward direction. I'm using my iPhone to record for just a moment because I want to show you why I was a little nervous getting that last shot and how I got it. I took my Osmo Pocket 3 and I stuck it to the inside here so I could get the shot back in there, and I was just afraid of this thing bouncing off and getting chewed up by the stump grinder. Might not have been the best idea. Nothing's wrong, but it got pretty dirty, and I had a gimbal protection warning when I took it off, and that's because there was some sand and grit in the gimbal, and I had to blow it out and kind of clean it up a little bit. So these are not made for that kind of rugged work. I should have just put the action camera down there, but I would have had to go in the house and get it. And laziness takes over once again, but anyway, everything's okay. So I took care of those two stumps. I've got nice loose soil now, so I can just rake that back in or kick that back in and level it out, and it's like they were never there. So if you're looking for a right-sized stump grinder for your compact or subcompact tractor, check out the Bamalite 1P14. Now, last I saw, which was several weeks ago, this was still in pre-production and pre-orders were being accepted. So check out Bamalite.com for more information. Find your local Bamalite dealer at Bamalite.com and they can tell you more about it. And these are built in North America. They are designed and manufactured, engineered in Canada. They are not overseas imports. They're built right in Canada, super heavy duty, really high quality. So check out Bamalite.com. Thanks for being here today. I do appreciate it. If you've not yet subscribed to the YouTube channel or followed on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok, I invite you to join me. Thanks for being here today, and as always, I look forward to seeing you next time.